Hey, what's going on, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy.
And Paul.
This is my husband, and we're doing Paul's
new treasure deck.
Yeah, what is how do you say this name?
Kalen,
Reclusive Painter. Could you tell us a little bit about the deck?
Basically is I make treasures, lots of them, and I use treasures to make my things big when I cast them.
Cool.
Or just anything with treasures.
What would you tell people is like the power level of this deck?
I'd say it's probably around mid-tier.
Okay.
In power level. It could definitely be made a little bit better with some cards that are a little bit more expensive, like Dockside Extortionist and stuff.
Yeah.
I just don't have them because, well, we're trying out the deck, and not worth spending $70 on a deck I didn't think I was going to like or wasn't sure of. But we did a couple 1v1 games, and it played quite well. Needs probably some little tweaks here and there, but for the most part, I think it's pretty solid to start with.
Yeah, and we'll mention, I know there was one card in particular that we talked about, that one black creature that we talked about, where we might take that out. So, yeah, are you ready to just jump into it?
Sure.
Cool. Okay, so her ability is cool. She enters the battlefield and she creates a treasure. She's also 2 mana, so she's really
easy
affordable.
And you get a free mana, so you're already kind of up on everyone else at that point.
Absolutely. Your ideal situation is you play her on turn 2.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And then each other creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on them for each mana from a treasure that was spent to cast them. So you spend treasures to cast your things is your whole ideal.
Yep.
Basic lands.
I have 13 mountains and 13 swamps. Yeah, they might change a little bit just to get some other more utility lands and stuff out there. But just to start out, it didn't really need them. And then for non-basic lands, we have Command Tower because it's EDH, why not?
Absolutely.
We have a Darksteel Citadel. It's just an artifact. There's a couple cards that trigger based on number of artifacts and things, so that's always useful. And, indestructible mana. Of course, we have an Evolving Wilds. We have Fabled Passage.
It's a great card.
Field of Ruin.
Gotta have that little land disruption.
Reliquary Tower if I somehow need, extra land, hand size. And then, other Evolving Wilds. And then Treasure Vault.
This card is so funny.
Just make a bucket load of treasures.
It's a really great,
I have nothing else to do with mana, and I have a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great card. Cool. All right. Let's jump into first the artifacts.
Okay, so this is both regular artifacts and equipment.
Yep, and there are 11.
So first is Goldvine Pick. Creature gets a buff, and whenever it deals combat damage, make a treasure.
Very basic. We're going to be flipping through a lot of these pretty quickly because they're pretty standard.
Helm of the Host. This does so many things. Put it on something that makes a treasure every time it comes in. Great, make more treasures. Put it on my commander. Every time I play a treasure, I get 2 tokens, or however many commanders I have. I can just end up making way too many treasures.
It's a great card.
Prying Blade. Just make another treasure when it deals damage.
Yeah, this is very similar to this one.
It's just cheaper by 1. Actually, no, it's identically the same. It's 1 less to cost, but 1 more to equip.
Yep, and you can put these on your commander or on anything.
Next we have Prowler's Helm. Make one of my things essentially unblockable. Not many people play walls, so I can usually get through.
This card is really similar to. Do you have Trailblazers
boots
in here? Oh, okay, yeah. This is. We should talk about them together because they're really similar.
Well, then I have Trailblazers boots, and then should I add Whisper Silk Cloak as well?
We can hold off on that. Okay. I think that these are just very identical. Non-basic landwalk people have this. What's your main targets with these? Would you say?
Either my big dumb creature that I spent a lot of treasures to cast.
Yeah.
Or commander, just to get in there pinging some damage. It really just depends what I have on the field at the time. Perfect.
These are both great cards. I've never seen this card before, so you've opened my eyes to this card.
Next, we have Soul Ring. It's a Soul Ring. Everybody knows what Soul Ring is.
Do you want to hear a funny story about this card? As that we were actually out of Soul Rings, and Paul had to just pick up this Soul Ring. That's how many commander decks we have. We literally have no Soul Rings left in our box.
Next, we have Tempting Contract. Certainly more useful in a 4-player game versus doing our 1v1s. But potentially I get more treasures. If not, whatever. It's not that bad. That's a kind of a we'll see.
I like it too because I feel like no one's going to go out of their way to destroy this.
Also, it's a treasure. Most people are going to be wanting to take them in. It's a little different than a land because it's not thinning the deck or anything like that. Yeah. So I feel like this one might get more of a use because they're also one-time cards versus, but it kind of probably will depend on how many treasures I have.
Yeah.
But if I have 30 treasures on the field or whatever, giving me 4 more treasures potentially is not really going to change much.
That's
I already
true.
have enough treasures to do anything, so.
Good point.
Next we have Thieves' Tools. Just another make a treasure token. And slightly another unblockable, but it's only 3 or less, so this will probably go to my commander more often than anything else. Just, make a little thing unblockable. Then we have Treasure Chest. Make treasures. As long as I don't crit fail, it's great.
This is the, perfect card in this deck.
Oh, it's hilarious. Yeah.
Honestly, none of these things, create 5 treasure tokens is ridiculous. Gaining 3 life and drawing 3 cards is great. And then tutoring? What is not to like about this card?
It's not just tutoring. It's tutor to the battlefield.
If it's an artifact.
Which is probably what I'm going to get. But either way, just a free tutor, too. I mean, honestly, I kind of want the 2 to 9 more than anything else in this deck, probably.
Depends on your situation.
Yeah, but the gaining 3 life and drawing 3 cards is always going to be great. So, other than the crits, the card is always phenomenal.
Yeah, but it's very unflavored. Very, D&D perfect. So
Treasure map. You obviously need a treasure map because, I get to scry, I get treasures, and that flips into Treasure Cove. It's more treasures.
But you get to draw a card, which is really cool.
Yes. And then lastly, for the equipment, we have Whisper Soul Cloak.
Yeah. Gotta have Whisper Soul Cloak. It's a great card.
Phyrexian Reclamation. Seems pretty good, just get back a card.
Phyrexian Reclamation's always good in anything.
This will be a surprise to no one. I'm making treasures. WinCon, potentially,
WinCon definitely. You're gonna have
getting 10
more.
treasures is very, very easy.
Absolutely. You could just play this and win.
Yeah. Next up is Shining Impetus. This can either go on my own creature. More likely it'll go on somebody else's big dumb creature, so they have to use it. Yeah. And they hit other people, lowering them, and I get treasures, so it's a win-win.
Goad is a very, in my opinion, underrated mechanic. Yeah. It's very strong.
And then lastly, for enchantments, we have Underhanded Designs. So whenever an artifact enters the battlefield, I may pay 1. If I do, each opponent loses 1 life, and I gain a life. So anytime I make a treasure, I can then just immediately sack that treasure to drain effectively free.
It's a win condition, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Cool.
And then it has a sacrifice ability, too.
Oh, sorry. I jumped ahead.
I get to destroy target creature, too, for sacking it for 2 mana.
If you're desperate.
Yeah. I only need to control 2 or more artifacts. That should be real hard in this deck.
Not at all. Cool. Let's do some sorceries next.
Okay.
Let's see. We have 13 sorceries.
Yep. We have Blossom's Act. Just destroy everything.
I also judge Paul a little bit because he didn't get the extended border. He's like, oh, this one's cheaper. And I was like, but extended.
Next we have Bone Shards. Destroy target creature for 1 and sack 1. Sack a creature. It's not too bad. Or discard a card. Either one of those is usually not too bad. I'll probably usually sacrifice a creature that just, said when it enters create a treasure or something like that. It's already done its thing.
Yep. For 1 mana.
Yeah.
It's a great card.
Brass Bounty. Make lots of treasures.
You know something that I'm looking at this card? So I wonder if this card might eventually come out. And the reason I say this is because you aren't playing a lot of lands. I mean, you're playing 34, but you don't have a lot of, you don't go out of your way to really tutor for lands or mana accelerator or whatever.
But this is more, so this might come out eventually. I don't know, but I feel like if we're that late into the game, I kind of want a way to suddenly make a lot of lands.
Okay.
Or make a lot of treasures if I need them, because I might have already used them all, so we just wipe the board or something.
Okay.
So it's a way to get back some treasures.
That's
late
fair.
game, kind of, is more the intent. Contract Killing. Destroy something and get treasure. Seems pretty good to me. Little mana expensive, but, it's not the end of the world.
You have, I think, too, the reason I'm not talking about this for the curve, because it's not that, but this, you don't care. You can just sack your things. You have so many ways of generating treasures in this deck, it doesn't matter.
absolutely. You're running black, you kind of need a damnation, so
agreed.
Makes sense. The Monarch Tutor, always kind of an auto include.
Did we have an extra of this, or did you buy one?
I think I bought that one.
Oh, okay, cool. I was just wondering.
Another Destroy, Make a Treasure. Slightly better mana cost than the last one.
Yeah.
Then we have Inguruk's Wake, another Destroy Everything that's not mine. So that's probably the highest CMC card in the deck. Or it might be tied.
Yeah.
But yeah. Next we have Pirate's Pillage. Draw 2 cards and create 2 treasures. And discard a card. You know, not too bad. I think that's pretty good. Reckless Endeavor. Roll 2 d12s. Choose one. Deal that damage to every creature. And then the other, create that many treasure tokens. This is really silly. I can create a lot of treasure tokens potentially.
And you could do a lot of
or
damage
just blow up the board. So.
Both. Or both. This card's so funny.
It is mana expensive, but...
It is, but you sack your treasures and you don't really mind.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, you said, I'm going to make potentially, on average, 6 treasures from this.
Yeah.
So if I use 2 or 3, I'm going to net treasures from the usually.
Absolutely. And the potential to kill stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great card.
Then we have Seize the Spoils. This is very similar to another card we just saw. Discard a card, draw 2, and create a treasure. Strike the Rich. I wish this was an instant, not a sorcery, but
I feel like they should have given this instant. Like, it's not that good.
Pay 1 mana, make a treasure. It does nothing.
It's got flashback. Like, the least they could have done was make this an instant, okay?
But, yeah, make a treasure at instant.
It's cute.
I mean, I guess if you made it at instant speed, if you had, like, Revel in Riches, you could then instantly... You do it at the end of an upkeep, right before your turn, that puts you at 10.
All right, good point.
And then Visions of Ruin. Each opponent sacrifices an artifact, and then I get a treasure for each artifact sacked this way. That flashback cost is rather prohibitive in this deck, but if you pick a different red or red-black commander, that could actually be quite not so meta expensive.
For sure. Yeah. I also think, too, in my opinion, the way that I usually view flashback costs is you're desperate, you have nothing else to do.
Yeah.
For a lot of them, because the flashback cost tends to be all heavy. Cool. Now let's do instants. Let me see. There are 7 in the deck.
First we have Deadly Dispute. Sack an artifact or creature, probably sack a treasure. Yep. And destroy, draw 2 cards, and make another treasure.
This is probably one of the best, these type of effects, in my opinion. It's instant speed, 2 mana.
Here's Downfall. Just, get rid of something. One of Tracy's favorite cards. K Command.
Oh, I gotta say I think past tense. I do have a fondness for this card, though.
But it does a lot, so this is always good.
Yeah, it's a great card, it really is. It's 3 mana for bringing something back, and then you can do any of these great abilities.
One of them is probably usually going to be destroy target artifact. That's kind of a big thing that you kind of want in EDH, just get rid of a Swiftfoot Boots or something.
Or anything, really. Yeah. Cut someone off early, kill their Soul Ring, you know?
Smashing Success. Destroy artifact or land. Usually going to probably be artifact, but there's some problematic lands.
Absolutely.
Then we have Sudden Breakthrough. Not great. This might be another card that comes out. Creature gains +2/+0 in first strike. Kind of useful, and create a treasure token for 2 mana. That's not awful. Effectively 1 mana. Fine. Give something +2/+0 in first strike.
Yeah. It's fine, but I can see it as a filler
that might
card.
be something that comes out for something else. Tragic Slip. That's get rid of something with Indestructible, usually.
It's a great card.
And then lastly for the instance we have Unexpected Windfall. Draw 2 cards, create 2 treasures.
Very simple.
Yeah.
And you discard a card, but you don't really care. Cool. So that is that, and then we're gonna now move into the creatures, which there are 30. Oh my god, this is hilarious. I just filmed my Tassiger deck tech, and there's also 30 creatures in there.
Yeah, there's a lot.
This is funny.
Okay, so first up is Academy Manufacturer. Side note about this card is I'm also going to build a deck where this is the sole focus of the deck, where all I'm going to do is generate as many copies of this card as I can, because it's silly. And it all started because I saw the rule text for this card, and it's quite fun.
I was just talking about this in one of my videos, and I was just talking about how this card is so ridiculous.
Oh, it is.
It is so silly.
Making copies of this thing is... And then making any of those tokens just exponentially increases the amount of tokens it's great.
3 mana. Yeah. Like, it's so good. It's perfect in this deck.
Oh, yeah. And that also gives me options to draw a card in game life if I need it, too.
Absolutely.
Next we have Atsushi. Probably saying that wrong. But when it dies, I'm usually going to make the 3 treasure tokens. But it's a 4/4 flying. That's probably usually going to be an 8/8 flyer. So, yeah.
This is definitely can be one of your win conditions, for sure.
Then we have Brazen Freebooter. Enters, make a treasure. Doesn't really need anything more.
Yep. And it's a 3/3.
Captain Leonary Storm.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I pause on Brazen Freebooter?
Sure.
1 second. I want to say one quick thing. I think the other thing that's really cool about this deck is, and I don't know how to like exactly phrase these, is like cards like this, right? And Paul, this happened when Paul and I were playing it. Is this card's a 3/3, right? It does a treasure. It's good. But, like, at the end of the day, I don't want to go out of my way to waste my kill spell on this. No. Because it's a 3/3. So you kind of put people in a weird situation sometimes where you run these cards that, like... I feel this way, too, when I play Tasigur, when I have, like, Elvish Visionary, Coiling Oracle, Eternal Witness. I'm like, people don't want to go out of their way to kill those things with a kill spell.
Also,
it makes it annoying during combat.
If I use the treasure to cast it, it comes in as a 4/4. Replace the treasure that I use.
Yeah.
And then it's, like...
Exactly.
Already slightly better, and it could be a 7/7.
Absolutely, but it's like, but does someone want to go out of their way to do a kill a vanilla 7/7? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of like the point I'm trying to make is like, cards like this can kind of fly under the radar, but it's like, no, they can be really good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This card is great.
Okay, Captain Leonary Storm. Every time it attacks, make a treasure, and I can sack treasures to make it bigger.
Also, too, this is whenever you sack treasures, so let's just say you were doing it at, like, your pre-com, your main phase, that it counts for this, which is really cool.
Dire Fleet Hoarder. When it dies, make a treasure. It's going to die at some point. I might sack it for an ability, You know
what card you should put in this deck? You should put Skull Clamp in this deck.
Maybe.
I feel like your stuff is going to die. Like cards like this. Yeah. And you get to draw cards.
So I do have 2 proxies in the deck currently because they're in the mail. But this is one of them. Disciple the Vault.
It actually looks like a really convincing proxy on camera. In real life, it actually doesn't look that convincing, but it actually looks pretty good.
So this is whenever an artifact is put in my graveyard, so anytime I use a treasure to pay for a cost or anything, I get to ping somebody for 1.
It's a great card.
Yeah.
And this does trigger so that your things do go to the graveyard and then they cease to exist. It's a win condition.
Oh, definitely. This is probably one of the other cards that'll probably come out as Forsworn Paladin.
This is the card that we were talking about last night.
Yeah, it's a 1 mana, 1/1 with Menace. I can pay 2 mana and a life to create a treasure token. Not very mana efficient to do that. And then for 3 mana, target creature gets +2 and potentially Death Touch, which is not great either. I mean, in some situations maybe, but it's just all around I don't think a great card.
Yeah, well, this is the card we were talking about, like, on paper. It seems like it would do a lot of things and it would be helpful, but in practice it wasn't as well-performing as you would liked. Also, too, a 1/1 Menace. Like, Menace to me is better the bigger the power.
Oh, definitely.
And it's like, and yeah, maybe you sack a treasure and it's a 2/2, but a 2/2 Menace, it's still not...
Yeah, it's not big enough.
To do a lot, to pack a punch.
Gaddock, flying, 5/4 for 3 mana. Do you need 4 or more artifacts? Really not that hard.
Not at all.
I probably have 2 or 3 by the time I'm even casting this on turn 3, This
card's awesome.
And at the end step, if I sacked a creature or something like that, or I killed somebody else's thing, I make treasure tokens, regardless of whether it caused it or not. So
what's that dragon that's like whenever you control 20 or more artifacts?
It's in here.
Okay. Well, we're getting to
that. Next, we have Goldspan Dragon. When it attacks or becomes a target spell, create a treasure. And treasures you control they produce 2 mana.
So good.
Oh, yeah.
Such a good card. And it's a 4/4 flying in haste. And if you use ability, it's bigger.
Oh, yeah. Also, because it's the wording on the commander is whenever you spend mana from a treasure, that means I get 2 counters if I use 1 treasure.
That's so good.
If it's used for the same creature.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Next we have Grim Hireling. Whenever a creature, whenever one of my creatures deals combat damage that turn, I make 2 treasure tokens. And then I can sacrifice a bunch of treasures to effectively try to cliff something again.
This is... I was like, when we were playing this against this, I was scared of this card.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
the amount of treasures that... And I think also, too, like, sometimes I feel like when we do deck techs, it's like sometimes you can't really see the whole deck until you see it in action, but Paul creates a ton of treasures in this deck. If that point is not clear, it needs to be made now. It's a ton. And you can sack and you can kill things, and you don't care about sacking 5 treasures to kill something. You don't care. You could do it very easily. This gets around indestructible, too.
It does only work as sorcery is the only downside.
Only downside.
Yeah.
But overall, this is a fantastic card.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're building treasures, you need this card.
Havoc Jester. It's another one of those cards where I sack any of my... Oh, hello, cat. Anytime I sack a treasure, or if I have my Academy manufacturer out, any of the clues or any of the food tokens, I'm probably not really going to use the food, but mostly the clue tokens.
You're desperate.
Every one of those is a damage to any target, which is probably going to be a person, but you never know. It could be something else.
We were talking about this card, and Paul's like, I don't know about it. I was like, this is
No. This was
really
one of the
good.
one I was definitely keeping.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure, but it's very good. It's higher in the mana cost, but honestly, I think it does a really good job of...
Next...
You know what you could also run?
What?
You could also run potentially Goblin Bombardment, which is sack a... I think... Oh, hold up. Goblin Bombardment would be sack a creature.
I think it's sack
Never
a
mind.
creature.
Never mind. Scratch that point.
Next, we have that card you were talking about, Hellcat Triad.
Yes.
So, when deals come to play, I take all their artifacts, and if I control 20 or more, I win the game. Most of those are probably going to be treasures, but hey, I can steal your soul rings, I can steal your,
This card's so good.
A lot of things,
good.
yeah.
Great win condition. Your win conditions are very different, and they're all really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this can be a win condition.
Oh, definitely.
Great card.
Another fun little creature. Hoarding Ogre. Roll d20, I get treasures. That's what it does.
This is a cool card.
This is a fun one to make unblockable, because it is 3 or less, so that one equipment would make it unblockable.
Yeah.
Or put any other ones, and I get 3 damage and treasures.
Yeah.
Seems pretty good to me.
I agree. This card's awesome.
Hoarding Robber, 1/3, whatever. But whenever it deals combat damage to player, make a treasure.
Hey, Zelda, you can't be standing here, sweetie. Go through.
Come on. Impulsive Pulver. So when it dies, make a treasure token. Encore. For 4, which is a lot for it. But exile the card, and it can have one attacking each opponent. So I would make potentially 3 more treasures from that. Or that will make 3 more treasures because they're sacrificed in a turn. But not bad for a 1/1.
Yep.
Next we have Jury. This card is definitely a win con on its own. Anytime I sacrifice my treasures, it gets counters. So anytime I cast something with using treasures, I make treasures. Anytime I sack treasures just for any reason or any of my artifacts or anything, it gets big. And then when it dies, something gets hit real hard.
Absolutely. And it's any target, so you can planeswalker, creature,
usually going to probably a person.
Burn their face, yeah.
Next we have the Marionette Master. It's got Fabricate 3, we don't care, and whenever an artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, target opponent loses life equal to its power. So I will definitely put the 3 counters on it every single time. I will probably spend as many treasures as I can to cast it.
Absolutely.
And then I will just sack treasures, and this is on its own certainly a win con.
Absolutely.
Because that's... If I spent 6 mana in treasures to cast that, plus the Fabricate 3, so that's 9 counters, that's a 10/10. So I sack 4 treasures, that's 40 damage.
Wow.
After that.
That's a great card.
Oh, yeah.
And you can also, too, just, if you're desperate, you really want to kill someone's low, you can just sack to sack. You know what I mean? If you need to.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a great card.
Then we have Mayhem Devil. Just whenever someone sacrifices permanents, not even just me, 1 damage to any
This is what I was thinking Goblin Bombardment would do.
Yes.
But this is on a creature. This is a great card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it dies, whatever, I don't care. It's still a 3/3 for 3.
Absolutely.
It's not awful.
And it also too, it says it notes a player. So if other people are sacrificing,
yeah, I know.
This
so
does
this
damage.
is anyone's sack. So yes,
and it's any target for 3 mana. This is a good card.
Then we have Mugus. Which let's keep pinging people for 2 because most people don't want to sacrifice permanents. Or hey, you're gonna sacrifice a permanent with like the last card. Hey, cool. Take 3 damage now.
Love it.
Then we have Nader's Nightblade. Whenever a token, so all my treasures, drain 1 to each opponent.
Yeah.
So that's in a 4-player game, 3 life every time I sack a treasure.
This card's 3 mana too.
Oh yeah.
Wow. It's a good card. Win condition right there.
I have several of those.
Yeah.
Pitless Plunder.
Oh, this card's so good.
Whenever the creature dies, make treasures. So when somebody board wipes, I make lots of treasures. So I can recast my commander, basically.
This card is ridiculous in foil, by the way, if you're curious. This card's like $20 in foil.
And it's
Cents.
for not foil, so that's why this one is not foil.
This is a great card. It's also another creature. It's like if you got tokens or whatever.
Yeah.
Well I don't really think... Do you have any tokens, Jen, in here?
I don't think so. I mean, I have the one that Fabricate 3, technically, but... I mean, one of the cards I want to get is the Monkey Pirate that's currently like $70, but...
yeah.
And so that's going to replace probably one of the creatures in here, but...
But let's just say someone gives you tokens... gives you token creatures or whatever, like a Crow and Horse or something.
Or like my Encore Pirate, the 1/1 that has Encore 4.
Oh, yeah.
Those would all die, and so I would make...
There you go.
6 treasures from that.
There you go. It's a great card. Great card.
This is probably one of the cards that will come out. It's okay. Plundering Barbarian, it's when it enters, either destroy an artifact or make a treasure. For 3 mana, that's really not great.
Really? I think this card's really good.
Yeah.
I like it. 3 mana.
It's okay. I mean, I'd rather have the Monkey Pirate.
That's fair.
But, yeah. Next we have Prosper Tomebound. So it's Death Touch. My end step, I exile the top card of my library, and then on my next turn I can cast it. So far, every time I've done it, I've gotten lands. But whenever I play one of those cards, I get treasure tokens. So,
yeah.
So we have Preposterous Dragon. This is the other proxy in the deck currently. And so when it enters, make 2 treasure tokens. It can get big, because that could be a 8/8 dragon. And we have a cat again.
This is what it's like to film with her. Yeah, good card.
Yeah. Then we have Ruthless Knave. Sack a creature, create 2 colorless treasure tokens. Or sack 3 treasures, draw a card. It's more for the sack 3 draw a card.
Sure.
But solid card regardless.
Gotta have that little bit of card draw.
Mm-hmm. And we have Solemn. Mana fixing and draw a card when it dies. Yeah. This is kind of whatever in the deck, but
yeah, I mean,
not awful.
You don't need really the basic. Like at that point, and on turn 4, you've generated enough mana to
probably
blast you. So it's more for the card draw.
Yep. And then we have Storm Kiln Artist. It gets +1/+0 for each artifact I control, so it can be really big. And whenever I cast an instant or sorcery, I make a treasure. So any of those instants, or basically all of them, say, make a treasure. Now make 2 treasures.
Cool. Yeah. Does this art not remind you of Barrack from Paladins?
Yes. Then we have Tenured Inkcaster. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. And then whenever a creature with +1/+1 counter on attacks, each opponent loses 1 and I gain 1. And so anytime I cast something with a treasure, those get +1/+1 counter. So I will probably have a lot.
Absolutely.
So this could easily do a lot of draining.
Absolutely. A couple of drain things in here, and you're a little bit of life, which is really nice.
Then we have Vault Robber. Exile a card from my graveyard, or a creature from my graveyard, and create a treasure token. Not bad, not great. But a lot of them I'm probably not going to get back. I don't have a lot of recursion out of the graveyard at this point. So
you got Phyrexian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, might as well do something with them and make treasures out of it.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we have Zorn. Make extra treasures.
Yeah.
Or make an extra treasure every time I make treasures.
Zorn's like the quintessential card in this deck. I feel like I think Academy Manufacturer is like
the silliest.
The the card.
It is by far the silliest card in the deck.
All right, y'all. That was fun to chat with you guys about this deck. It's super silly, but it's very good. You have a lot of win conditions.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
And they're all very similar. It's a lot of pinging or draining.
Pinging, draining, but you can punch face. You got your couple of creatures, you got your Hellkite Tyrant or whatever card where you have 20 or more artifacts, you have Revel in Riches. Yeah. All right, well, thanks for hanging out, Paul. If you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Oh, and the video will be listed in the down below if I didn't already say that. Subscribe.
The link to the deck.
Yes, the link to the deck. What did I say?
You said the video will be in the down below.
The video,
deck
will be in the down below. Wow, I'm stumbling. If you enjoyed this video, go and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll catch you in my next one.